A girl sends a message saying she's going to break up and a protagonist starts crying. He's in disbelief, wondering if it was a joke. He thinks she's not serious because he had plans for their future relationship and was even thinking about marriage. However, he gets blocked and agonizes in his chair. A friend was going to call him to play but ends up seeing the protagonist pass out. The friend tries to help but he storms out, slamming the door. His friends are outraged because he cannot maintain a relationship. Chen Yuan is a famous dog licker. He just follows girls around spending money on them and gets nowhere. He's outraged that after 3 years he got nowhere with Chu Tong. The scene shifts to them talking and a group of people watch them. The protagonist begs for forgiveness and gives her a pivot plush toy, her favorite animal. People around them gossip that he had 4 jobs to support her. Chu Tong explains that everything is fine, but after some time thinking she realized she wanted to get back with her ex. The protagonist knows her ex and calls him a jerk. He tells her to her face that her ex cheated on her and left her pregnant. Suddenly a car appears and a guy calls her to get in. Chu Tong's ex does not like them talking and drives her off while she says that this way is better. At the convenience store, the protagonist is devastated. As a bootlicker, he thinks he will never have a relationship. But a system appears showing his information named Chen Yuan with 230 Chinese coins and personal wealth and 1 strength point. However, it also shows another piece of information saying he has 90 billion Chinese coins to be a dog licker. He wonders what's happening. A girl approaches him asking if something is wrong with him because he keeps staring at her chest. The protagonist looks at her and starts analyzing her stats. The system shows her name is Hulil. She is 21 years old, 165 centimeters tall, weighs 49 kilograms and is almost an 8 in appearance. Her favorability towards the protagonist is -50. The system informs him that if a chosen woman reaches 95 favorability points, she can become his bootlicker. The protagonist is confused, wondering if he has to use the 90 billion given by the system on women. The system informs him that the 90 billion coins can be spent and that they have been credited to his card. It also states that they only work on women, and when he reaches 95 favorability points he earns a tenth of the spent value back along with some other rewards. Now convinced, the protagonist invites Hulil to eat, saying he will pay for everything. The system informs him that everything is set and he can spend on her. When he reaches 95 favorability points with a girl, he also gets 5 points as a reward which can be used to enhance his abilities. The girl looks at him and asks if he is trying to show off his wealth. Hulil is unsure if he is trying to flirt with her and if he can succeed. The protagonist keeps staring at Hulil and remembers that she is very powerful since she made a guy spend more than 30,000 with just 3 words. He responds to her provocation saying that if she does not test him she will not find out. She then accepts and tells him to buy snacks for everyone in the class. Hulil looks down on him, thinking he dresses like a beggar and yet wants to flirt with her, so she will have to teach him a lesson. But the protagonist spends 50,000 without worry. A group of people who were speaking ill of him realize he is rich but does not dress like it. The protagonist tells her to relax, saying that amount is nothing to him. Not being a fool, he asks her to add him. Hulil is confused, wondering if he is a second-generation rich kid, implying he inherited everything and is a multi-millionaire. She says she can add him, but he must go to a special place first. Let's see how I will deal with you, Hulil thinks. In front of a Gucci store. She says she is not a materialistic person, she just wants to be sure of his sincerity and actions. Given his clothing, the protagonist thinks he will be thrown out. But Chen Yuan tells Hulil is fine and she can buy whatever she wants. Entering the store, the protagonist sees his ex as accompanied. She and Jun Kai are talking about a bag she is trying on. Chu Tong notices the protagonist is not alone. Hulil asks the protagonist if that is his ex-girlfriend, saying is not a good time for them to be there. He says there is no bad time, they arrived at the perfect moment. You still have that spring collection bag? Hulil asks. The store clerk responds they only have 1 unit left, but Chutong is trying it on. The protagonist's ex is confused and says she will show the difference between a loser and a Junkai. Chutong tells Junkai that her birthday is coming up. He is confused, remembering that her birthday was recently. But she explains that the previous birthday was based on the lunar calendar and asked if he knows people also have birthdays based on the solar calendar. Don't you know that I don't like materialistic girls? You're not with me for money, right? Junkai responds. Chutong is speechless. After this conversation, Hyulul takes Chutong's bag, saying she will buy it since it seems Chutong doesn't have money. Using the protagonist's money, he gains 20 favorability points with Hyulul. Swiping the card, he gains another 20, and as she smells the bag, he gains another 20. He is excited, thinking about how money improves things and that the bag made him gain 60 points. At this rate, he will quickly reach the top of her favorability. The problem is that if he reaches 95 favorability with her without spending much, only buying those cheap bags, he won't get much money back. The store attendants seem confused, saying that some guys appear rich but don't like to spend on their girlfriends, while the poorly dressed protagonist is giving Hyulul the best. Chutong is left humiliated on the floor while Hyulul stands there saying that a bag is like a boyfriend. It's good to hold on tightly. She looks at the protagonist thinking she can't lose him and gives him some compliments. Chutong, with tears in her eyes, bumps into him, saying he has gone too far. Too far? Haha, Chutong, you still have a lot to suffer, the protagonist says. But with her aggressive move, the protagonist activated the system's second relationship. It begins to show her information. Name is Chutong, 21 years old, 163 centimeters tall, weighing 49 kilograms. She has a slightly higher rating than Hyulul and has -10 favorability with the same goal of 95 favorability. Are you relieved? Did I do a good job? Didn't I? Where are we going now? Hyulul says. The protagonist says the night is just starting and he has plenty of money, asking if she is satisfied with just one bag. And she starts grabbing everything she can, ending up full of bags. The protagonist gives the card. The store attendants say they will deliver to the address after the purchase is finalized. Kenyun keeps gaining favorability with Hyulul, another 5 points. Swipes the card, another 5. Swipes the card, another 5. Hyulul gets tired of buying clothes and doesn't even know where she will put all of it. Not enough space. Doesn't matter. I'll buy you a house, says the protagonist. But this made him lose some favorability. Hyulul says they should take it easy since they have spent a lot. The protagonist understands he scared her and that it's not normal for someone to buy a house for another person so quickly, even for a multimillionaire. Hyulul, a junior at the Fine Arts College, 21 years old, 49 kilograms, and her favorite color is black. The protagonist says, implying he knows her well. He asks the store attendant if they have a card he can give to Hyulul. She says they do. Then the protagonist asks to put 500,000 credits on the card for Hyulul to spend whenever she wants. Kenyun gives the card as an apology for the misunderstanding. She blushes and feels happy. He whispers in her ear that if she can't resist, she should just give in to him. Oh, you bad boy, you're a bad boy, my god, Hyulul says. And he gains another 30 favorability points. The store attendants go crazy over how attentive and caring he is with her. The protagonist says that having money makes it much easier to flirt with people. Hyulul asks him if even though he buys a lot for her, he doesn't buy clothes for himself. The protagonist says he doesn't have much money. Hyulul, wanting to impress the protagonist, takes him to buy some clothes. She starts spending the 50,000 her father sent, paying for a haircut, some clothes and sneakers. Hyulul is impressed seeing the protagonist with a new haircut and sneakers, and he gains another 5 favorability points. Another 5, another 5. The protagonist asks if he did something wrong since he never spent money on himself before. She puts her hand on Chen Yuan's chin and says there's nothing wrong with him. She just thinks now they make a good couple. She thanks him saying it was a very special day. Now Zulil has 68 favorability points. Back at the dormitory his friends ask what he did all day and why he is all dressed up. Ken Yuan says he was on a date with Zulila. His friends give some advice reminding him that not long ago he was suffering over his ex and now he is with Zulil. They suggest he stay away from her or he will end up very poor. The protagonist thanks them for the advice. Then he receives a notification from Chu Tong saying that if he hates her it's best they delete each other's numbers. Chen Yuan looks at the phone thinking about how he will increase favorability with her since she wants him to delete her number but he wants to earn money with her. Of course not, how could that be possible? You always have a special place in my heart, the protagonist says, sending the message. She responds saying she is not with that guy because she wants to be but because her mother is sick and needs 50,000 for medical procedures. Chu Tong is impressed realizing she was only playing with him and receives a notification of 50,000 that the protagonist sent. Chu Tong's friend asks who sent that money. She responds that it was her ex who sent it. Wait, Chen Yuan, didn't you dump him today? That loser is this rich. Chu Tong starts wondering if she made a mistake by leaving him, and even after he sent 50,000 to Chu Tong he only gained 5 favorability points. She asks Chen Yuan several questions such as what he meant by sending the money, where he got all that money, why Zulila was with him, why he didn't buy a bag for her, and if he might be a second-generation rich kid. The protagonist silences her after she sends 15 messages in a row and wonders if there is a more fun way to spend money on women. He finds a girl doing a live stream but there are only a few minutes left until she closes. She gets frustrated and asks if anyone's going to send gifts or if she should end the live stream. The protagonist sees that he can send up to 1 million and thinks it's much better than buying bags. He starts a frenzy of sending multiple gifts. The girl thanks him for sending a rocket, but then 100 rockets appear on the girl's screen. The people in the live chat get angry wondering who sent all the gifts. Chen Yuan realizes that someone with a lot of money gets a lot of attention and sends 900 more rockets, causing her phone to crash. At the company where the girl does her live streams, an employee informs the boss that something incredible happened. A guy spent 10 million on Xiaomi's live stream. The staff goes wild, unsure if the protagonist is laundering money through the site or if he is affiliated with the company. All the other girls doing live streams see the protagonist's nickname and are amazed that he spent 10 million on Xiaomi's live stream and try to send him messages in his DM. Chen Yuan just watches the messages come in. The girl that received the gifts wonders if it's all real, but then a guy with a sign comes over saying he needs to get the protagonist's contact information and will get a raise for it. The girl sends him a message thanking him for the gifts. She asks if he is still in the live chat since she's about to close, but Chen Yuan had gone to sleep after spending money all day. The next morning his friends are looking at news online about a guy who spent 10 million on a girl's live stream, and the guys are discussing what they would do if they had that kind of money. The protagonist realizes he spent all that money and didn't create any kind of relationship with her, so he opens TikTok and sees a bunch of girls sending him messages. One girl says she is 28 years old and divorced, asking if he wants to meet her. She is frustrated since the protagonist doesn't respond to her messages, inviting him to her studio and saying she's waiting for him. He isn't very excited about these messages since he doesn't gain any favorability. His friends are still discussing the amount of money and getting ready to go out. The protagonist asks his friends where they are going without him, and they respond that they are going to see the goddess Zhao Yuqi and are going early because they want to see her up close. His friends ask if he had forgotten because normally he runs ahead just to be there from the moment she arrives until she leaves. A system shows her information. Name is Zhao Yuqi. She is the beauty of Hunan campus, the vice president of the student council and the dream of all the students. She is level 10 in piano and athlete, a professional in ballet and fencing. Her incredible talents make it extremely difficult for any guy to get close to her, an unattainable woman for all the boys in college. In the last 3 years no one has been able to get close to her. The protagonist feels challenged since she is the most difficult girl, meaning he will have to spend more money. Su Tang is nearby talking to her friend, saying that Chen Yuan only learned how to dress up after they broke up, and says she is afraid he and Zheng Kai will fight because of her. Her favorability is only going up, gains another 10, gains another 10. The protagonist is annoyed, saying that favorability is only going up because he dressed up, but it's all nonsense. His real focus is Zhao Yuqi. One of the guys nearby is talking about wanting to see how his boss will win over the goddess Zhao Yuqi, and he says she will fall in love with him. He approaches her asking for her contact information when another guy comes up asking what he is doing. He doesn't care about what that guy is saying and continues talking to her, insisting that she adds him, saying he wants to get to know her better and be friends with her. The angry guy demands to know if it is looking for trouble and what he plans to do with Yuqi. Taken aback, claims it's a misunderstanding and that he just wanted to join the student union because she is the vice president and he wanted some advice. The angry guy scolds him, saying that's not a good enough excuse to hit on her, calling him a pervert. But the protagonist, undeterred, asks if she can add him on Snapchat. She looks puzzled, wondering why so much is happening. The protagonist remains confident that she will add him. The president says he is bold and courageous for putting himself out there for everyone to mock. The other guy admits the protagonist is even more handsome than the last one and asks if he wants to join the student union too. The protagonist replies no, he doesn't care about the student union. The guy is confused why he wants Yuqi's snap. Ken Yuan says he just wants to pursue her. Students from another class watch, noting another guy trying to talk to her, but at least the protagonist is bold. Zhao Yuqi decides to give him her contact information. Su Bang's friend asks what's going on between them. I like beautiful women, why should I hide that? Sometimes the simplest approach is the most effective. What Wenan doesn't like being pursued, says the protagonist. It shows that he has formed a bootlicker relationship with her, but with zero favorability. He is happy but confused since she gave her contact to someone with zero favorability. Outside the class, his friends say he nailed it by getting Yuqi's contact, since he used to seem like a bootlicker and now looks confident. One of the protagonist's friends jokes that if he gets close to the president he will have to introduce them to her friends. The protagonist doubts he will manage to talk to her, saying they are exaggerating since she is the most beautiful girl on campus. A guy behind him yells, calling him a loser but admitting he has good sense, revealing himself as the one who tried to hit on her and got rejected. Ken Yuan says he is the most professional of all and that the protagonist has much to learn from him. The guy starts mocking him, saying he is proud for nothing since he only got her number, and asks if Chen Yuan knows him. But the protagonist just laughs in his face. Then Su Liao appears, asking why Chen Yuan took so long, in saying she has been waiting for him for a long time. Everyone is shocked that Su Liao, known for rejecting all kinds of guys, was waiting for this guy. The protagonist invites Yik Su Liao to eat as an apology for making her wait. Su Liao asks if she looks pretty in the clothes he bought her. Meanwhile, Chu Tong, very angry, listens nearby. The protagonist replies that no girl looks pretty just because of clothes. The couple walks off, everyone watching them. The rejected guy says he doesn't understand, he was just one step behind the protagonist. But he stops complaining when he sees Chu Tong nearby, asking who that girl was. Su Liao hands him a drawing she made of him, saying she stayed up all night drawing and if he throws it away she will never forgive him. The protagonist says it's the first time since he was born that he's received a gift from a girl, and she asks if he liked it. He stares at her and asks if all this is just a game to keep him. Su Liao wonders if he liked the drawing, as he doesn't seem very happy. He asks if she will give him better gifts in the future than just drawings. She gets angry and asks for a drawing back. He says he won't return it and will keep it as a family heirloom. The protagonist tells her he likes her more as a person than any gifts she could give. She is impressed by how good he is at flirting. Another 5 favorability points. The protagonist thinks she wants him to become her pet, but he plans to use her to make more money. A guy interrupts asking if Su Liao isn't going to do her nails, who the protagonist is, and he is rich. The protagonist thinks this guy is another of Su Liao's bootlickers, noting that this happens often. Su Liao says she doesn't know who he is and that he doesn't control her. The protagonist steps forward, introduces himself and asks the guy's name and how long he has been following Su Liao. The guy responds that his name is Yang Yu. He's from the arts department and has been following her for 6 months. The protagonist tells him that it's nonsense and shares his own story about being replaced by a girl he followed for 3 years, working 4 jobs, eating just bread every day, only to be replaced by a guy with a Mercedes-Benz. Yang Yu doesn't understand why he is sharing this story. The protagonist tries to motivate him, saying that people who turn their backs on you become motivation for personal development, and asks why a real man can't have a wife. He tells Yang Yu to go back to his dormitory and make her regret her decision. Yang Yu is so inspired that he starts crying. Even Su Liao wonders what is happening and why Yang Yu is crying. She awkwardly says that he is just a friend. The protagonist says he doesn't care about her past and points out that she doesn't respect him or herself. He tears up the drawing and tells her she can use the card he gave her, but he doesn't want to see her until she sorts out her relationships. The protagonist wants to see how she will handle this situation, as it's the first time this has happened. Su Liao regrets her actions, realizing the protagonist is the first person who truly liked her. And another 5 favorability points. Can Yuan reflect on how he has matured, resolve things with Su Liao, and now it's time to move on. He goes to talk to Zhao Yuqi and sees that she is live streaming. She seems the most innocent so far and not having done anything horrible to be hated for. She is doing her live, introducing herself as Kiki, training piano, doing live streams for 2 days and asking people to take care of her. The protagonist thinks she is cute and wonders if the president is the type of girl who is cold outside but warm inside. Arrogantly he notices that she has few views and wonders if that's all she gets. At this moment Xiaomi sends a message asking where he is. He asks who she is. She thinks he has forgotten about her and says he sent many gifts in her live stream and now doesn't remember her. He says he was just joking and asks if she is free to meet up. She says she can't if she has a busy schedule. He just ignores her. She asks him not to be angry, promising a special live stream. The protagonist, annoyed, complains that she still wants him to send gifts. He doesn't have a bootlicker system with her and has already spent over 10 million. Tired of the situation, he decides to give that money to Zhao. A duel appears on the live stream, a one-on-one between streamers. One will compete and it's the other, and whoever receives more donations wins. They have to compete to get money. The protagonist is happy about the duel involving the president and asks who her opponent is. The crazy girl laughs at the situation, confident she will win against a novice. The protagonist says he doesn't know who will win and the duel begins. Xiaomi has 10,000 points while Yuki is poor with 206. She is giving her best, using all her talent, charisma, genius, and wit, creating a masterpiece. Xiaomi taunts Zhao, saying it's better for her to give up since she has the support of a very rich guy, Chen Yuan. The chat goes wild over this duel. It seems I use all my skills to make money and surely Boss Smokey will be impressed and donate to me, Xiaomi thinks. But then a rock appears on the screen and she thinks Yuan has arrived. She prepares to thank the protagonist, but then she sees that all the rockets went to Yuki's live stream. Yuki's points jump to 152,000. A notification pops up saying Lonely Smoke donated 1,000 rockets to Kiki. The president is in shock and Xiaomi is outraged that the rockets weren't for her. A guy with a sign appears demanding an explanation for why she didn't receive the rockets. Shaking, Xiaomi apologizes to the audience, saying she has to do something, and ends the live. The protagonist comments that she can't handle it when he sends gifts to others and wanted to see her reaction. He hopes the president won't disappoint considering the significant amount he spent. The people at the company go crazy thinking the ghost has done it again, imagining that the protagonist must be the son of some prince to pull off such a stunt. My god, the smoke donated another 10 million to a girl who plays the piano. Does he like music? Xiaolei, get my triangle now, says a streamer. Kiki and her friend talk with her friends, suggesting that the president might become an internet celebrity, impressed by the idea. Yuki responds that pleasing men online doesn't seem like a long-term solution. She emphasizes that the most important thing for a woman is to have a financially and personally independent career. Kiki's friend asks if she knows the guy, but she has no idea who it was. Kiki tells her friend she wants to send a thank you message for the gifts. Her friend is indignant, reminding her that she said she didn't want to get involved with anyone. Then she exclaims, saying maybe she knows the guy, thinking he must be the son of someone very wealthy. She speculates that he must be extremely talented and raised in an extremely rich family, but prefers to live an ordinary life, thus finding a common girl and deciding to like her as a common man. She explains to her friend, saying it must be that. Her friend dismisses it, saying she's been watching too many dramas. Kiki imagines how difficult his life must be pretending to be an ordinary guy. Her friend tells her to go to sleep, saying it's late, but Kiki really wants to thank Chen. The protagonist looks at his phone and sees a message from a girl asking if he's free to eat, and he says he wants to eat his favorite dish, crayfish. She agrees and says she'll meet him at the school gate in the afternoon. She didn't ask where I got the money for the gifts, just invited me to dinner. I want to see what she's up to, he thinks, staring at his phone. The next morning the protagonist arrives at school on his scooter. A guy standing by a Mercedes asks if he's waiting for someone. The protagonist asks if he's waiting for someone too. The guy says he's waiting for his girlfriend. Then the pianist arrives and the guy tells the protagonist not to look too much, because to win over someone like her you need to work hard and have a lot of money, or he will take all the beautiful girls. Kiki sees the protagonist and imagines him as a hero on a motorcycle. She runs towards him. The guy thinks, how you think you can get into my car? But then she goes to the protagonist's scooter and the guy is stunned. He wonders what's the point of having so much money. They ride off on the scooter and she imagines herself as his fiancée. They arrive at the restaurant. They order some spicy crayfish. The dish arrives and they think it must be wonderful. The protagonist romantically arranges the table for her. She thinks he hasn't forgotten how to be a gentleman, even with the opportunity to go to expensive restaurants, giving off a noble family vibe and being disciplined. The protagonist is eating the small crayfish and she comments that it must be the smallest crayfish he has eaten. Kiki is impressed that Chen Yuan is eating with her, thinking he wants to live a peaceful life without much worry, and says he is as gentle as a flower. The protagonist wonders why he suddenly gained another 10 favorability points. Then Kiki offers to feed him, saying she peeled the crayfish for him. Just as he is about to eat, someone arrives. It's Chutong again, wondering if she saw Kiki feeding Chen Yuan the crayfish. She turns to her boyfriend and says the place is crowded and suggests they find a better spot. But the guy asks if the restaurant is crowded or full of familiar faces, saying he doesn't mind eating in a crowded place. Chutong's boyfriend walks up to the protagonist's table and throws $500 at him, saying it's for him to get up so they can sit there. What the hell does he think? Does he think this is cool? The protagonist wonders. The guy throws more money, telling him to leave quickly and asking if he wants more. Kiki, holding her bag in anger, looks furious. The protagonist sees Kiki is upset, thinking it's because of the guy. She is stressed, wondering where this guy came from to ruin their perfect date. The guy pulls out more Monopoly money, saying he has much more to make him leave. A staff member offers to take the money and find them a table. This only angers Chutong's boyfriend more, saying he wants to eat at that table. Then someone hits him with a handbag. A previously unknown woman pretends it was an accident. Angry Chen is confused about what's happening. The blonde guy seems to know the woman and calls her by name Cho Kam. He asks what she's doing there. She angrily says that if she wasn't there she wouldn't have caught him cheating, already cursing him. The guy says she's misunderstanding and that he can't cheat on her since she's everything to him. Ken's admirers are just watching, pulls the blonde's hair, blaming her for using her body to seduce him. The girl cries, saying he invited her and lied about being single. The guy says she's making up stories and slaps her face. She collapses on the floor, devastated. He moves to slap her head, but his hand is stopped. Hitting a woman, huh? You really enjoy embarrassing yourself, don't you? The protagonist says, and Lonely Smoke gains another 20 favorability points. Chutong says the protagonist really loves her. The protagonist keeps gaining favorability, another 20 favorability points with Chutong. The second target of the bootlicker system reached over 95 points. The system congratulates Chen Yuan, saying he successfully reversed the bootlicker situation. It shows that Chen Yuan spent 50,000 on the second target and informs him that he will receive 5,000 in return. Chutong has been converted into the protagonist's bootlicker and he gains 20 strength points. Chen Yuan allocates 10 points to strength and 10 points to fitness. He flexes his arm and the blonde guy demands that Chen let go of his arm and grabs a bottle, threatening to kill him. Chen stares and says the guy is annoying, then punches the bottle and the guy, sending him flying. The guy falls to the ground looking defeated, and Chen says that depending on a woman is not shameful, but hitting a woman while doing so makes one despicable. The blonde is biting his lips, clutching a balloon popper. The girl with Chen Yuan is nervous, urging him to end it quickly. Chutong's boyfriend charges at the protagonist, but thanks to his new points Chen dodges quickly, causing the blonde guy to hit his elbow and collapse to the ground. Everyone eating in the food court is nervous. The blonde guy is on the ground, foaming at the mouth. Chen walks away with his hand in his pocket, the young girl beside him. Chutong, now a bootlicker, watches and clings to Chen's leg, begging for forgiveness and a second chance. Cold and calculating Chen reminds her of the guy who ran over 10 kilometers with her on his back at 3 a.m. to take her to the hospital, the one who saved money for half a year to buy her phone only for her to ignore it because it wasn't the latest model, and the one who, despite knowing all her unnecessary vanity, always thought of her as a good person. He tells her that all those guys are dead. Outside, talking with the president, he apologizes for everything that happened. She says calling her president is too formal and that he can call her Kiki. She says it didn't bother her and that she saw a different side of someone. She thinks Chen Yuan is more intriguing the more she gets to know him, imagining that he will bring countless surprises to her. Arriving home, Chutong is crying, soaked from the rain. Her friend asks why she didn't use an umbrella. Chutong is too nervous to speak hookily. Her friend then asks if it was the protagonist, saying she heard he gave 10 million to Zhao in her live stream. She says Chen Yuan may not look like it, but he is very rich. What? More than 10 million? Where? Did you hear this? Is it true? Chutong asks. Yes, Zhao's classmates spread the news to everyone, her friend replies. She can't believe what her friend is saying. She screams Chen Yuan's name for everyone to hear. In the room, the protagonist's friends are playing Mobile League of Legends. They ask how he's so good, winning 18 matches in a row. The protagonist hadn't imagined that adding 20 attribute points would make him so good online games. A guy with a cool hairstyle suggests that with this talent he could become a streamer, earning millions and getting some hype. He is amazed at the power the attribute points have given him. Looking at himself, he wonders who will benefit from his body next. At the door, his friends shout for him to come out. His phone is ringing. Chen Yuan wonders what tactics she will use to manipulate him now. The protagonist answers the phone, but he is cold. Hello, Miss Gashu Liao. Is there something you need to inform me about? The protagonist answers. She starts crying, saying she doesn't know what to do. It shows her in an abandoned room full of Chen Yuan's purchases. She asked to borrow 500,000 from him. Zhu Liao says her family was once prosperous but now they're stuck in debt, unable to pay off the interest, making no progress and just needing to clear the debts. The protagonist only asks two things: what she wants and to send the account details. She is shocked, thinking he wouldn't send the money. She quickly sends the account information. The protagonist sends 5 million. She says he mistakenly deposited 5 million. He says he must have pressed an extra zero and that she can keep the money. She screams in gratitude, and then it keeps coming more. Her favorability keeps increasing. Zhu Liao screams with happiness. I mean cry. Zhu Liao thanks the protagonist and promises to pay him back when she can. Her favorability continues to rise, now reaching 94. The protagonist sees her favorability at 94 points, complains about not being able to win her over quickly and considers confessing, but quickly dismisses the thought, as those who reveal their true feelings lose. The next day the protagonist is hanging out with his friends when someone calls his name from behind. When he turns around, it's Chu Tong holding some pastries and asking if he wants to eat them in the classroom. The protagonist's friend is shocked, wondering why she's bringing breakfast for Chen Yuan. But then Yuan hears someone else calling him and sees it's Liao, who also brought breakfast, saying he must be tired of eating cafeteria food. They face off in a bootlicker showdown. However, once again someone else calls Chen Yuan. His friends are outraged that he has yet another girl. The protagonist wonders who it is this time. It's the president, who brought raiment for them to eat. The three girls glare at each other. The president is the second most beautiful girl on campus with a commanding aura. The protagonist receives the raiment and asks how she knew he liked raiment with meat. She says it was easy to guess since they had a date. Chen Yuan isn't even trying to seduce anymore. He just wants to see who can seduce him better.